Hey, good morning. Welcome to Recovery KickStarts. These are 5-minute or less videos meant to encourage you in your recovery, reconnect you with God in your Christianity, and kickstart your recovery for the day. Hey, I'm Pastor Chuck, and this week on KickStarts, we're talking about the past, the present, and the future. And today, we find ourselves in the present in an episode I call Practicing the Present. If I lived to be 100 years old, I'll never forget this time I was doing marital counseling for a couple that was fighting each other like cats and dogs and had been for quite some time. During this meeting, the lady just kept going on and on about what was happening in the past in their marriage. And she's like, well, you did this and you did that and you didn't do this, you know? And then the guy, the entire time of the marital counseling class, he's like, well, one day we're going to have this. And one day he's off in the future. She's in the past. And he's like, one day we're going to do this. And this is all going to fall together. And so, I mean, they kept fighting and arguing with each other, yelling, raising voices. I said, stop, you know? I was like, I see the problem with your marriage right here and why it's not working. They're like, why? I'm like, well, because you're living in the past and you're living off in the future and no one seems to be right here in the present where your marriage is falling apart. Amen, somebody? And so with that, past living or future living, I see this all the time in the recovery community. I don't know what type of person you are or how you're wired, but usually those of us in the recovery community, we're either living off in the past, well, if this would have happened or if I'd have got the girl or if I'd have got this, then my life wouldn't have turned out this way, or if so-and-so would have done this, or so-and-so wouldn't have said that. We're looking back in the past in the glory days and this and that, or man, I wish I wouldn't have done this, you know. Or you're the type that's living off in the future. Now, this is me. Well, one day when this happens, then I'll fill in the blank, or, you know, and we're just planning for a future. We're hoping for the future. But the problem is the fight for your life, for your recovery, for your Christianity is taking place right here and now in the present. This is a real struggle for me in my recovery. A lot of times I'm here, I'm talking to somebody, this and that, but my mind's off in the future, you know, like, oh, I got to go do this later. I got to go do that later. I got to do that later. Anyways, I came across a book and it really helped me with this. And it's called Practicing the Present by John Kosler. Sorry if I'm pronouncing that last name wrong, but it's a play off the book Practicing the Present by Brother Lawrence, but this is Practicing the Present tense. And I want to read you a little quote from this book right here. He says, I've learned an important lesson. The future never really arrives. The days marked on a calendar eventually come to pass. The plans I make may come to fruition or else fail, yet as far as my experience goes, I remain firmly rooted in the present. What is the future but the now that we have not yet come to know? Likewise, the past is merely a succession of presents that we have left behind. In one sense, we cannot help but practice the present. We have no other temporal framework within which to live. Time travel is only the stuff of science fiction. We may remember the past, but we can't return to it. We may place our hope in a future or even dread its approach, but we cannot suddenly transport ourselves there. Now catch it, this is the part. The present is the only context available to us for living our lives. We live our lives in the here and now. And now this is what helped me to place a higher value on the present than the future. He said, this is where we learn to obey God. The present is the only place where I can experience His presence. Wow, man. Talk about cost versus value. I have this sign over my desk for when I write my books. It says progress over perfection. I'm a perfectionist. Perfectionists probably shouldn't write books. Took me 5.5 years to write the first one, ASAP. And it was very exhausting, very draining. Late nights, burning the candle at both ends, not getting sleep, not getting rest, being grumpy, agitated, this and that. And then I came across this slogan, progress over perfection, almost like a mantra. And I got to looking at the weight versus value of it. You know, progress doesn't cost as much mentally, emotionally, physically from me. But I don't have to do everything, but I do have, just so long as I do something, progress over perfection. And so that helped me to place a higher value on that. And likewise, the practicing the present, I'm very future-oriented. I'm building ASAP Recovery. I'm building Recovery Community Church. We got some stuff at the Kentucky Jail Ministry. For those of you who know me, I am very future-oriented, but I'm learning to practice the present. The Bible talks about this too, friends. It says, remember not the former things, nor consider the things of old. Behold, I am doing a new thing. Now it springs forth, not tomorrow, now. Do you not perceive it? I will make a way in the wilderness and the rivers in the desert. So he says, don't get caught up in the past, be in the present. Then here Jesus said in Matthew in the Sermon on the Mount, therefore don't worry, saying, what shall we eat, or what shall we drink, or what shall we wear? He's like, therefore don't worry about tomorrow, for tomorrow will worry about its own things. Sufficient for the day is its own trouble. And so, friends, listen, the only place that change happens is not in the past, is not in the future, but here in the present. And so get a hold of that. Practice the present in your recovery. Hey, until I see you again, remember that no matter who you are, where you've been, how far gone you may be, through Jesus, you too can be recovered. See you next time.